Hello people of the verse and welcome to the channel. That's the Eradicator here, and in this video we're going to talk about Theaters of War. There has been a little update here, and this is actually in Spectrum. I put the link to the description down below if you're interested in checking out that thread. Somebody here, Victor Von, actually asked on Spectrum, whatever happened to Theaters of War? And there was actually a reply from a dev, Richt CIG. Probably, I've never heard of this developer before. He's probably a developer working on the project, right? And he says, hey, so I wanted to jump in and give a quick update on Theaters of War, as I see a lot of misinformation about why it exists, who is working on it, and what is its status. And then he starts to explain first a clarification, apparently, to what Sean Tracy said during this last CitizenCon. He said, firstly, when Sean Tracy mentioned at CitizenCon that it was coming in 6 months, and I totally understand the confusion, he meant coming to EVO/PTU audience, as we always plan to give it a longer runway, as it has relatively tiny team compared to the wider Squadron 42 and PU teams. And we did hit that date so we could get wider feedback from players, albeit to EVO only. Come on, what a joke. Of course they were not talking about EVO Caddy, they were talking... Why would Sean Tracy say that it would be available to us and only a handful of players? That doesn't make any sense. And clearly, why would you make it available for everyone to try at CitizenCon and then restrict it to EVO Caddies? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, let's continue. Since then, Theaters of War has been playtested multiple times internally and has been a really useful tool for us to hone down on performance and stability. The work done here has directly benefited the PU and Squadron 42. It is no way in shape or form. It in no way takes in shape or form away resources from the other teams, and I know this as pillar director who oversees the entire core gameplay pillar, which his team sits. We have also used it as a benchmark for testing out different weapons, and it has directly contributed into making some of our newer weapons much tighter at launch, such as the ATSCAV, the P6LR, the C54, and the newly released FS9. Okay, so they apparently they did use, and actually I think we did saw a couple of Theaters of War footage during inside Star Citizen when they were showing those weapons. So that I want to believe that, but still, nevertheless, a shame that it's still not available to us, right? And we could definitely be using even the short version that they have here, the battlefield type version that they have in Star Marine. That would be fantastic, but no, they are not going to do that, and that's the next paragraph here. Secondly, the team that is working on Theaters of War has been directly working on addressing the feedback from our last set, which is mainly to make sure that we are trying to replicate what a distilled down version of the PU would play, rather than a Battlefield clone which serves no one. Actually, it does serve. I absolutely disagree here. Having some type of combat area helps people get more familiar with the weapons, gets more familiar with combat mechanics, with how the game works in combat situation. It has greatly helped me. It has greatly helped tons of other players who have played in Star Marine and Arena Commander, and I cannot believe that they are saying something like that. This is invaluable to me and the wider team, as it helps us drive the core mixed arm experience. Obviously, I totally understand it's not a direct one-to-one comparison, but we are working towards making it more like the PU. And for example, Death is more meaningful, more strategic gunplay, and you can go anywhere you want with no boundaries. I don't understand. I don't understand this change here. And why is this being addressed on Spectrum, and why don't we have any official post here, any official clarification? Again, showing that the communication at CIG is really weird, and I understand. You know, when I see things like this, I understand, you know, when people don't believe CIG, they tell us one thing on one side, and then we got another thing from someone else we've never heard of on Spectrum, and it makes everything very confusing. Thirdly, Thirdly, we'll be bringing Theaters of War shortly to EVO Caddy again. Great. We have made strides towards giving it a more PU identity in how you spawn and play the game. But for us to even consider launching it to the masses, we would need to improve the performance and net desync. This means improving it for the PU, as Theaters of War is the PU. It's a planet and it uses the same assets. We benefit from the same improvements and suffer from the same problems, whether it's PU, Squadron 42 or Theaters of War. Okay, so it's basically what we've been seeing in the leaks, right? The problems is the performance, and it's also what we are seeing. I think that probably what we will be seeing also in the Genothreat event, and how they are going to help fixing Genothreat in terms of performance, is probably also going to benefit Theaters of War, which could also explain why it takes a little bit of time, since they are basing Theaters of War off the PU itself. I know not everyone will agree with the above, but at least this gives you an update of the current status. Well, thank you for acknowledging that indeed not everyone will agree. And I see a lot of comments on the 6-month quote I made above. To be super clear, we are 100%. We 100% wanted to get it into everyone's hand early 2020, but that was to the live audience, all backers on PTU, not full release. We did not manage to do that, as EvoCaddy playtests we held highlighted a lot of performance issues and raised some gameplay issues, so we went away and continued to work on it. This is why we have an EvoCaddy private test in the first place, and then we'll continue to do those tests until it meets the performance and gameplay criteria we're trying to achieve. For example, a full PU combat scenario and a decent frame rate that you guys can actually enjoy. We'll still hit up EvoCaddy playtests to get feedback through this interim. So looks like we are not going to get Theaters of War anytime soon, guys, but at least it also gives some clarification about what they are changing here with this particular mode. And that's all for this video, guys. Again, I'll put the link in the description down below so you can check it out and comment on the thread as well. At some point, I think that the problem with Theaters of War is that we got really hyped in a year and a half during CitizenCon, but it was a year and a half, and I think that the hype is going down and people are more excited about the events and Pyro and the tech as well. But let me know what you guys think also. Are you still hyped about Theaters of War? I want to know everything in the comments down below. And that's all for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. This is the Eradicator. I'll see you guys later. This video is brought to you by the people who support this channel on Patreon and via the join button as well. Supporters of the channel get access to lots of cool perks, such as access to my private Discord, your question answered in the show, you get to know when I'm going to play, and also you get to have a chance to influence the editorial line of the channel. Any help is appreciated, starts at just $1 a month. Thank you very much for watching. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.